So now you know that you can change your social life when you have the right tools. That what socially successful people have is something anyone can get. It's not something you have to be born with. You don't want to hope that one day the universe will be nice towards you. You want to take your social life in your own hands, and you now know that you can. You are in charge of your own life, and you can make that change. It was this realization that led me to go from this lonely guy who was bullied in school into having friends around me who I can hang out with whenever I want to. You know, amazing friends I live in this house with right now, and I know that people like me, and that's a wonderful feeling. You know, when I'm away traveling, I get texts from people saying that they miss me back at home. And this is just because I understood the principles I now teach in these videos. If you haven't already, watch the previous videos first by clicking above. They teach important things about how to build a strong confidence in social situations, and they are required viewing, so if you haven't already, watch them now. Now, I'm going to go fast here. We don't have much time. We got this video and we got the next video. And recently they discovered that feeling lonely shortens your life expectancy by as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So according to these scientists, every day you don't take action is like smoking 15 more cigarettes. So if you want to continue your journey and have a more social life, I recommend you to keep watching now. Some people are good at making new contacts, but see how people stop contacting them after a while, and others have one or two close friends but have a hard time making new friends. And by the end of this video I will show you why this is, how to avoid having friends that suddenly don't want to keep in touch, and I will reveal the 3 principles that are the fundament to friendship. So if you're only going to remember one thing from these videos, you have to remember this. I am about to show you the CAP model, and this model is what 30 years of science has put together to answer the question, what is the equation of making friends? And with this formula at hand, you are in charge of your life. You choose who you want to make friends with, and people will wonder how you pull it off. It's a wonderful feeling to walk around and know that I can make friends with anyone. And the first principle of this equation is called coordination. Coordination. This is how well you coordinate with the people you're talking to. And this includes building rapport, meaning meeting the person you're talking to on his or her level. And this will sound a bit basic for some of you, but stick with me for a minute because I'm soon about to reveal something that will come as a surprise for most of you. And when it comes to rapport, imagine that you are relaxed and sleepy and someone comes by who talks with a really high energy level, and that person will come off as annoying because he or she didn't build rapport. Building rapport is about becoming more aware of what mode others are in and what thoughts and beliefs they have, and make sure that you don't break these modes and beliefs if you don't have to. And again, it's about keeping your focus on the other person, so everything fits together. I knew a guy who always was very high energy, and it might sound like a very small thing, but the main reason he didn't have many friends was because people didn't connect with him and thought he was annoying. So building rapport sounds so basic when I talk about it, but when my clients have a thought about it, they often find how they break rapport more than they first thought. So rapport is a big and important part of coordination. But coordination is more than that. Coordination is how well you play together. You need to communicate in a way that is smooth. So if someone is interrupting or talk more than you are doing, that's poor coordination. Or a person who never says anything, so it feels awkward all the time, that is poor coordination too. And here's where it gets interesting. The coordination becomes important the longer two people know each other. All those small differences in how well we play together doesn't matter that much from start. So importance starts off, it's quite important from start, but it gets more and more critical for the friendship. So as weeks and months go by, a person with poor coordination becomes more and more annoying. But he wasn't that annoying in the beginning for others. And this is the reason why people with poor coordination can be great at making new friends, but tend to lose them after a while. And this is often the reason for those who feel that their friends lose interest in keeping in touch with them. After a while, this lack of coordination becomes more and more annoying. So how do you really coordinate with someone? Well, time is short and I won't be able to go through it all here, but here's a great rule of thumb. The full coordination is when you meet the every person like you would be his lost twin. Now, there are some cases where you don't want to do this and you want to always be yourself, of course, but this is a good way to grasp the concept of coordination, to see two people as two twins. They coordinate well. You know, this concept of the lost perfect twin, that is coordination. And people who focus on others in social situations tend to be better at coordinating than those who focus most on themselves. So here's one reason to do the exercise I told you about in the previous video. Ask yourself how the other person is feeling. Ping the other person and think about if he or she enjoys the conversation. I have loads of practical methods for how to do this step by step, but time is tight, so I won't be able to go through this in this video. The next principle is called attentiveness, and I need a blue pen for that. Attentiveness, A. And this is about actually caring about the person you're talking to and paying attention to what he or she is saying. And people want to be seen and heard. And here's the thing, when you're talking to people, as you know, you can either focus your attention inwards or on the person you're talking to. Like I showed in the last videos, if you're focusing inwards, you feel more self-aware and it makes you more nervous. It also makes it harder to coordinate with people because you pay less attention and that makes you less attractive as a friend. When I teach this, some tell me that they have to be in their own head to come up with what to say next. And that's also wrong actually. If you are in your own head, it's harder to come up with what to say next. And here's an example. Say that someone you just met is telling you something like, I got 1 hour late because my car broke down. And now if you're inside your head, your mind will be like, oh, okay, what should I say next? I have to come up with something. And you think about it and perhaps you come up with a story about how you were in a similar situation. And you say something like, yeah, my car broke down once, it's so annoying. And don't do this. Don't do this because what is the other person supposed to say now? He has to say something like, oh yeah, that sucks, and then it's time for an awkward silence. And this is not attentive because your brain is just thinking, me, me, me. Instead, imagine if I told you, I got here 1 hour late because my car broke down, and you kept your attention on me instead, and really focus on what I'm saying. And suddenly you think, wow, did my car actually break down? It's natural to ask yourself, where's the car now? And how did he get here without a car? What happened with that car? What will it take to get it fixed? You know, there are so many questions you can ask if you focus your attention on the other person. This is one of the benefits with being attentive, the second principle of the CAP model. So you do not have to be inside your own head to come up with questions. Just focus on the other person and truly try to understand him or her. Now, if you want to tell your personal car story after you're done speaking about his car story, go ahead and do that. It can be a great way to bond, but avoid doing this annoying common thing where you relate everything everyone says back to you. If you're the one who often replies with a sentence that contains the word I or me, you know, or my or mine, when someone tells you something, you should pay extra attention to this. And again, I go much more into detail about these principles in my programs where I teach exactly how to implement them. But I can tell you this, when I spoke about self-confidence in the last video, I spoke about how people are more insecure than we think they are. And if you don't treat people nicely, like coordinating well with them and giving them your full attention when you speak to them, they won't think it's fun to hang out with you. And this leads us to the third principle, which is positivity. And I don't think this is what you think it means. So this is not about being happy-go-lucky, everything is good. Overly positive people can be quite annoying. In this CAP model, positivity stands for showing a positive attitude towards the other person. You need to show that you like and accept the person. We tend to like people as much as they like us. So think about that. If it feels like someone don't like us, we tend to dislike them. People will like you as much or as little as they think that you like them. And people mess up here when they try to be cool. You can be as cool as you want to, that's awesome, but don't be cool instead of positive. Tell people, I liked small talking to you, and smile towards people. If you're about to meet up again, show that you are looking forward to it and don't try to be cool and reserved about it. I receive a lot of emails from people asking me to go deeper into this stuff and really explain how you put what I've taught here into action. At first I just did this for my own sake to become really, really good socially, but as the requests stacked up, I was thinking that I should try to write down everything me and my team discovered. And at first I thought it would just be a short PDF, but the project just grew and grew, and there was so much to write about because there is so much that can go wrong if you apply these principles the wrong way. And after a month of work, this project had turned into this whole online class with videos and exercises and Q&As, and that covers exactly how to do each part that will take you from your current situation to a socially successful life. And it covers how to become really good at making conversation. It covers how to, step by step, implement a genuine self-confidence. It covers how to find people who are like you, how to make friends with these people, how to develop deep relationships and make true friends. And now this program isn't available yet because we only have a limited number of spots and currently the program is full. But I love the fact that you are watching this video and that you have followed me this far and that you are interested in really getting this part of your life handled. So I will give you more information about this program later. But now up to something really important, and that is common myths that keep people from being socially successful. There are many common misunderstandings when it comes to making friends. One is that you need social status before you will be able to make friends. But when you study things like the CAP model and the Fast Friend Protocol, you realize that social status isn't something you need to make friends. It is something you get from making friends. If you want social status, become the one who has loads of friends. And have you ever met someone who tried to show his or her status by mentioning how he's been to all these places or has bought all these cool things or try to present himself in a good way? Did that make you like that person more? Making friends is about understanding that people aren't more interested in your stuff than you are in their stuff. People don't care about the cool stuff you did or bought. Being socially skilled is what gives you social status. And no one looks down on the guy or girl with a lot of friends. Here's another common misunderstanding. You need to be fun and interesting to make friends. And is this true? Yes, as a matter of fact, this is true, but most people have misunderstood how to be fun and interesting, because by saying witty things and pulling up jokes all the time, you risk turning into the clown. And by trying to be interesting, by knowing everything, people might just see you as the SWAT. By talking about your adventures in the world, people will think that you are bragging. And trust me, because I've tried this. So here's where it gets interesting. The moment I started to focus on people, show interest in them, and have interesting conversations, we both enjoyed, instead of saying things to make them like me, people started saying things like, it's so fun and interesting to speak with you. You know, people will think it's interesting to speak with you when you care about them. People think it's more interesting to talk to you when you don't try to be interesting. People often ask me if there's a difference between if you're a guy or a girl when making friends. And I'm having both men and women as clients who've taken my courses, and they both had great results. On the surface, friendship between two guys and two girls may look very different. You know, how the stereotype is that guys drink beers in a sport bar and girls drink latte at cafes. But the underlying psychology is still the same. The principles behind friendship is the same between the sexes. And you need the same conversational skills. Males and females need to build up their confidence in the same way. So if we look at what it really takes to make friends, even if it looks different on the surface sometimes, the psychology is the same. The same goes for different countries and cultures. There are many differences in how we interact socially in different cultures. Americans are more physical than people from Japan, and in France you kiss on the cheek. But if you try that in Sweden, you will freak people out. But when we look behind this, again, the psychology behind friendship is identical. It's often not the superficial stuff that's the problem for us to get handled. If you live in France, you already know that you should kiss on the cheek. That's the obvious stuff. It's the underlying psychology that makes the difference. And luckily, this is the same all over the world. If you have the skills I teach in my program, you will connect with people no matter where in the world you are. And my students are from all over the world, and the techniques work for all of them. And I've personally been using these principles to make friends in China, in Thailand, in the US, in France, in Spain, and even in Sweden. And these principles work all the same. A misconception I had when I just started off was that I looked at these super extroverted people and thought to myself that I would never make friends because I was an introvert. But I was wrong. Just because you are great at partying or telling stories doesn't mean that you are good at making close friends. Many of my best friends are introverts just like me. Some tell me before they try the program that they feel like they simply aren't capable of getting the social life they want. And here's what I found. And stick with me because this will sound weird at first, but once you know the secrets, succeeding at making friends is easier than most other areas of life. And let me explain. The harder thing about making friends is knowing what to do. It's easier to make friends than finding a partner, and it's easier than succeeding in business or in career. And here's why. In business and career, good is not enough. You need to be better than the competition. If you're applying for a job, you need to be better than everyone else who applies. And as everyone tries to be better than each other, things get hard. And if you're running a business, good is not enough. You need to be the best alternative for the customer. And business is really hard. According to Bloomberg, 1 out of 10 businesses fail the first year and a half. Then there is dating. Here you need to create artificial situations all the time. Some teach you how to go to nightclubs. Others teach you how to approach people at bus stops. Or there's speed dating. Or you have to compete with thousands of others at online dating sites, and you write and people just don't reply. To succeed at dating, you need to constantly be in these artificial environments and push out of your comfort zone. And that is hard. Making friends is different because you can create natural ways to meet people, even if you don't like social events. You can meet people through basically anything that you are just mildly interested in. If you've tried taking some photos once, you can join a photography club. Alternatively, you might even meet people at work or in school that you already talk to but don't click with today. You just need to apply the psychological principles and adjust what you say to these people. And you don't need to push your comfort zone all the time. You don't need to compete with thousands of others, like in career or dating. And you don't need to be the best person to make friends that person has ever met, to become his or her friend. You just need to make small adjustments to how you act in social situations. And that is what I mean by saying that the hard thing about making friends is knowing what to do, how to make these adjustments. You then need to implement it. It will take some time and you will probably feel a bit stupid along the way, but when you implemented it, you will succeed. A common reaction, and something I've experienced too, is that the mere thought of going through change is demotivating because you have to question yourself, and it just feels like everyone are idiots anyway, and your brain come up with all these different reasons for why you should keep your life like it is, even if you're obviously not satisfied. And we probably only live once, I guess, so why not make the best out of it? You have to make the decision here. Are you ready to create a bigger life? Some of the things in this program will take effort to implement, just like with anything in life. It's not constructive to think like this, but sometimes I can feel frustrated I didn't get this handled 10 years earlier. There are so many things I could have started doing 10 years ago that would have been so easy to do. Just like knowing that I should ask questions about the other person instead of trying to relate something to, say, myself all the time, like I spoke about earlier. And there are loads of other things that you learn in the program that are so easy to do and make such a huge difference. This bottomless agony that I could have had this social dream life started 10 years earlier. But as they say, the best time to get started is 1 year ago, but the second best time to get started is today. And I love doing this. I had thousands of people taking my course, and I have 10,000s of people who are visiting my site every month, and I love when they email me and they tell me that I made a difference for them in their lives. And that motivates me more than anything else. And if you're ready to join me and go further into this journey, I am about to open up the registration for new students very shortly. In just a matter of days. Now, we have a limited number of seats in this program, and therefore it will only be open for a very short period of time. And that is because in this program, we don't just have this course with videos and real-life examples and exercises, but we also have a section where the students can ask us anything, ask us everything they have on their mind. And to give this great benefit, we can only have a limited number of seats. And I will be sending you a video about how to go deeper into this and move forward and take everything you like about my free stuff and make it 10 times more effective. So the way this works is that we open up the registration for a few days and then we close it down. Then we get the class started. So if you want some more detail, stay tuned for the next video. But for now, you got a whole lot of stuff to work with. We've been covering how to connect closely with someone and how to feel more confident in social situations, and how to make close friends by coordinating with them and being attentive and positive. So go through that and try these things, test them, see how it works for you. Perhaps you feel uncertain about some of the advice I've given. You don't need to decide if they work for you or not, just test them. Test them in the next social situation and see what happens. Next thing, I would love if you scroll down and leave a comment. Tell me how you will use what you learn in this video to get a great social life. I've been loving to read all your comments, every single comment I've read, and I've been responding to dozens of them. So it's been a lot of fun. So go ahead and leave a comment below, and I see you in the next video.